Hello, the Internet Tough Monkey here once again. Hope you're all well. Thanks for stopping by. Okay, today is a consumer review of the Padcaster Parrot Pro Teleprompter Kit. This is a product that I have bought myself, and I've had to wait a long time for it to arrive. You see, this was part of a Kickstarter campaign. Back in sort of June last year, I saw a video on YouTube from Gerald Undone, and he mentioned about these teleprompters, and I was quite interested in it at the time. And I was probably the very last person to sign up to this Kickstarter. Looking back at my emails, I finally decided to commit to it at 2 minutes prior to the end of the Kickstarter campaign closing. And 3 minutes after the campaign closed, I got an email to say, congratulations, you are part of this, and they've reached the final value that they needed to reach. And within a couple of hours, my donation, my pledge, whatever you want to call it, had been taken out of my account. Now, I've written down what the costs are so far of this thing. The Kickstarter campaign was $129 for this particular one. There was a higher price version which came with a few more kit options to attach to webcams and smartphones, but as I'm using it on a Canon Lagria video camera there, I didn't need that. So that cost me $129. In British pounds, it came out of my account at £107.62. However, a few months down the line, there then came the communication about the cost of delivery and taxes, and it was a bit of a shock. This was the shipping was $31.36 in dollars, and the taxes were $21.35, so $52.71. And in UK pounds and pence, that was £43.87, and that came as quite a shock. That one did. So it was a fair old box, and this has just come half an hour or so ago. It's 12:15 on Wednesday the 13th of March, and this Kickstarter campaign closed at the end of, well, I think it was June the 2nd, I think it was. June the 1st, 2023. Now, this review is not at all about the Kickstarter campaign, because when you sign up to Kickstarter, and I've done a few in the past, you know that you're in for the long haul. You're paying your money, you're taking a bit of a gamble where it's going to arrive at all, and if it is going to arrive, it's going to be some way down the line. So I am not at all complaining about the length of time it took for the product to be purchased and arrive on my doorstep. That is not an issue whatsoever. I only get a problem out of it if I'm in any way lied to. There was 25 messages come through from the Kickstarter guys, from Padcaster. They kept us fully informed. There was a few people that had messages that were not replied to in a prompt manner through the Kickstarter campaign, but I'm not too concerned about that. They gave us plenty of updates, so as far as I was concerned, I'm quite happy. It took a long time, but you always expect that. I don't feel as though I was misled in any way. I certainly wasn't lied to. If you've seen any of my other videos, you'll notice that there was one for Fanatec, which I bailed on because they were flat out lying to us on about the delays. That'll be up there if you're watching on YouTube. I decided to cancel that one. But this one, don't feel as though I've been misled. Don't feel as though I've been lied to in any way. So I'm happy with the wait. The cost of the delivery was a bit of an exception. But this isn't my first rodeo with teleprompters, though. This is the Padcaster. It's arrived today. I've not even opened it yet, but this was it's sitting on here is my Niwa teleprompter kit, and it's absolutely enormous. This was another test product from Amazon Vine that I've had a year and a half, something like that, and it is absolutely enormous. I will use it in situations where I'm in a studio, and by studio I mean in my wife's studio next door, because it's a lot bigger than my little pokey room here. And if I've got the green screen up and I'm wanting to have a teleprompter, I use this, and this is the size of it. It is absolutely enormous, this thing is. So that is a full-on teleprompter kit where you install your iPad up there into there, and via an app you upload your script, and you read it straight off that screen there, and the camera sits in there. And I've used it quite a bit. But it's enormous, and I can't fit it in that gap there where I usually film. I simply can't use it. I haven't got the space. So I don't use this one very often, only in a studio situation. So you can understand why I wanted a smaller teleprompter. And seeing Gerald Undone's video about this on YouTube, it interested me. And it still took me a couple of days of thinking about it, hence why it was a couple of minutes before the campaign closed. But I thought it would actually benefit my channel. I'm only a very small YouTube channel, and genuinely thank you very much for stopping by. I don't get paid for this in any way, shape or form. It's just a hobby to me, but I thought it would benefit me because when I'm doing these pieces to camera, most of the time I am spitballing. As I am now, there's no script involved. I'm just talking to you and it's just coming out. And sometimes it will take me many takes to get something that I'm happy with. And hopefully having a script will benefit me. It'll make my work process, my flow, much better, much more streamlined. So this was of interest to me and that's why I've gone for it. So let's have a look inside what's in here. I've not opened this yet. It's only come from FedEx. I've got the cardboard box it came in. That's the only thing I've opened so far. So we'll have a look at this. Now, I've blinkered myself off deliberately to any outside reviews. I always do. Any product I review, I don't look at other reviews because I don't want my own interpretation of it influenced in any way. But with this, a bit of disclosure, because I'm part of this Kickstarter campaign and there's lots of messages going backwards and forwards and you read the messages, there has, it would appear, been a few quality control issues along the way. Early people who have received their product complained about there was some blurring on the screen, and I think there's some issue with the iOS app. Sorry, not the iOS, the Android app, which I'm hoping shouldn't affect me because I use iOS, not Android. And because I'm possibly the very last person to receive this, I'm hoping that any kind of early manufacturer issues may well have been addressed and resolved by the time it's come through to me. But I will give this a thorough test and I shall comment back on any issues that I find. And these will be genuinely my views, no one else's. I've deliberately not seen any Padcaster YouTube reviews of any nature whatsoever, even ones linked on the Kickstarter. I want to find this out for myself, and if this is right, if it's a good product, you will know, and if it's a poor product, I will also tell you. I don't care the fact that I've spent £151.49 of my own money on this. It's an entirely independent view. So let's have a look at this, see what's in here. So that's the size of the box. That's the reason why it cost me £43.87 to get it shipped from America. We get in here, right, okie dokie. So we've got a carry case, a nice hard carry case, so that should protect things. There's a bit of flex in it, but it's all right. Little carry handle there. What else we got? Oh, hang on. A thank you. Thanks for supporting Padcaster Parrot Pro. We couldn't have done it without you. Very nice of them. Right, so that's all that's in the box. So let's have a look what's in the carry case. Hopefully a Padcaster. What have we got in here? Right, so we've got some soft foam in here. I assume this here is the Padcaster itself. Get in here. Okay, right. So that is the Padcaster itself. Does that fold down? It's like a GoPro mount, that does. Does that force that? Yep, that's it. Yeah, that's okay. So right, so your phone will sit on there. Is that adjustable? I assume it's adjustable. Yeah, that will slide back and forwards. There's if you can see that, the reflection on there. So there's the screen. It reflects what's on your phone straight back at you, so you're looking at it from that angle, and then through there, which I assume that slides out, so it's a thin bit of plastic, but there you go, put your camera lens through there. So I'm hoping there's some attachments for that as well. So that is effectively the Padcaster Parrot Pro. I can see a bit of like orange peel, and you won't be able to pick that up. As I'm looking at the glass, I don't know if it's on the glass or on the. It might be on the plastic. It might be on the plastic. I can see some orange peel, but I think it's maybe the plastic on the back. Okay, that's all right. And that folds away and lives in there. Okay, what else have we got in here? So we have got it's like an adjustable wrist strap or something. Quite why you'd need that, I don't know. There is a remote control. Now this comes with a remote control, so you can move through your script as you go. Now this is the because you have to provide your own mobile phone, you need to download an app, which I think is where the issue with the iOS, sorry, I keep saying iOS, don't I? The Android app has come from. I'll download the iOS app for this, assuming there is one, and this will allow you to scroll through your script, I'm hoping, anyway. So what have we got in here? We've got a pretty standard generic plastic remote control. Is there a battery for? Oh yeah, there's the battery. So we do get a battery included. Okay, the battery is a CR2025, that is, and some silicone. I'll get rid of that because the dog is sat right there. I don't want her eating that. Okay, it's a fairly generic type of plastic remote control. I mean, that I've got HDMI control, a switch box over there, and it's a similar sort of thing there, sort of just cheap Chinese type thing that you get with all of these kind of products. Right, okay, so remote control with battery, and what's that? Chemical burn hazard warnings. Keep batteries away from children. Okay, aren't any children in this house other than myself, so that's fine. Right, what else we've got? A Padcaster cleaning kit. So what's in there? Let's have a look. Just a bit of card. Here we go. So we've got a screen wipe type thing. That is a massive screen wipe for a tiny little screen, isn't it? Fair enough. Nice little logo on there. Lovely stuff. And what is that? That is a Padcast. What is it? Okay. It's a little retractable feather brush thing, and something on that end as well, and whatever that is. Yeah, okay. Right, some cleaning kit. Wasn't it a nice little addition anyway? Okie dokie, that's that. And is that... Oh, hang on. What's in there? Now these will be the lens attachments, I'm hoping, because obviously lenses come in different sizes. So what have we got here? Okay, we've got quite a few. Yeah, this is good. We've got plenty in different sizes. We've got 52mm, 55, 58, 67, 77, 82. Is that it? That might be the last one. All right, so we've got plenty of attachment options. Hopefully one of those will fit my Canon Lagria over there. And that is everything that's in the pack. Like I said, I went for the standard kit, which just included the lens attachments for DSLRs and video cameras like that one, but does not include any attachments for webcams or your smartphone. If you wanted to put a smartphone behind that, I thought, well, I'm using my smartphone to actually display the script, so I'm not going to move the smartphone behind that, so that's probably not required. I do have webcams, but when I'm using a script, I'm filming via this, so my Canon Lagria, so I didn't think it was particularly necessary, and it was an extra expense. Didn't think it was necessary. So, right, I'm going to spend a few days testing this out. I shall record some YouTube videos, do some scripts, see how it works, see if there's any of that blurring that people have mentioned, and just see how I get on with it. So I shall catch you in a little while. Okay, let's go ahead and get this thing set up. I've switched to my Logitech Brio webcam because obviously I need my video camera to attach the teleprompter to. I've already set this up once, so I've familiarised myself with the process, but I've disassembled it and we'll go through it together. One thing I noticed after I filmed the previous bit is there's no instructions in this, so I had to go online and find some instructions to make sure I was doing it properly. And I found a video by the makers of the Parrot Pro Padcaster, the head of the company, and it's quite a useful video actually. I'll put the link in the description below, and it's basically very similar to my unboxing video and what I'm doing now, except it doesn't have the review at the end. So do check that out because it is useful. And it's also made me understand what these were for. I thought they were some kind of wrist straps. I can't understand those, but what they are actually is some bungee attachment. So if you've got it's like an iPad mini or something, which is larger than a standard phone, you can put that on the teleprompter's base and strap these over them and keep them secure. It's a little bit Heath Robinson, but I suppose it does the trick in a pinch. So let's get this set up. This is my Canon Lagria video camera I use for most of my pieces to camera, sat over there. It's currently got a hood mount on that, so we don't need that. You're going to need to know what the size of your lens are. It should say somewhere on there what it is. I know from setting it up that it's a 58mm ring, so I can discard all of those for now. And 58mm ring goes on the camera here. Now this can be a little bit fiddly, I've noticed. It took me a few attempts to get it quite right, to get it absolutely spot on. So this feels a bit more positive. There we go. So what that does is allows you to slide the teleprompter over the top of that. So let's dig the teleprompter out. There we go. You just loosen those GoPro mounts and fold that down and tighten those back up again if you really want to. Now that dial there loosens the tray so you can move it in and out if you so wish. Tighten that back up again. And then there's a couple of little things that fold up like that. This one's difficult to get to without actually fouling the glass and smudging it, but that allows you to slide your phone in there and keep it secure. Hopefully make it a little bit more secure possibly, but no, that's all magic. And then you need to take this little thin bit of plastic, keep that safe because that's where the lens is going to go. And there's a little sliding recess in there, and I shall try and do this in one clean go. It's unlikely I'll get it quite right, but let's have a go at putting this in without knocking the camera flying, obviously. Here we go, it's going in all right. There we go, snaps in, quite positive, and there you go. So if I was then to install the app, so you need the Padcaster app from iOS or Android. I've downloaded it already onto my phone, and I've installed a script. So I put a script on there, turn it into horizontal, and then you can place that on there, and you may be able to see the script on there. Now, what you also need to do is pair up your Padcaster Bluetooth remote control. So at the moment I've disconnected it. So if I go to Bluetooth, so at the moment there's all my Bluetooth devices. It's not on there. So you need to turn this on till the light comes on, and then press connect until it starts flashing. It will start flashing. There we go, and it should appear. Oh, there you go. Bluetooth remote controller. So I press that, give it a moment, and it should connect in a brief. Pairing request, pair, and we are now connected up at the top there. Right then, okay. So if I then put this back on the Padcaster, so wherever it was, there, put that on, put it into horizontal mode or landscape mode, and then I can now use this. If I press OK, it's on the tilt a little bit, but I'll sort that out. Right, if I press OK, you see it starts scrolling, and then if I click that button there, it comes up with a menu on the side, which only you and I can see when you're looking directly at it. And from there, you can scroll down, choose different speeds. Let me see where the speed is. So font size is there, and I can choose to speed it up if I really, really want to. Move that across, you can see it going a lot quicker. You need to tailor that to your own speech pace, but there's plenty of options in there to play with. Press it back, and there you go. And obviously these buttons here, that makes you scroll a little bit quicker if you really need to. But that seems to be working pretty straightforward. It seems to be quite easy enough to set up. I'm going to go ahead and read out a script for the first time, so I shall catch you in a moment. I've had a quick trial with the pace of the iPhone's text rolling past to see if it lines up with my own speech speed. So we'll might need to adjust that on the fly, but we'll see how we get on with this one. Now, one thing I've noticed is that I can't really see the lens, the camera lens, because I'm basically looking at a reflection of the iPhone screen, and all I can see is text at the moment. It's very difficult to see where the actual center of the lens is. So I do apologize if my vision is not looking at you straight in the eye, so I'm off to the left, right, up or down or something. That's because I haven't got used to where the camera is. This is the first attempt, so I've got to learn how to use this properly. Also on that score, just check out my eyes, see if you can notice if I'm clearly and obviously reading from left to right, because this is sort of the distance I would normally be. I've got my tape measure to see exactly how far away we are. So to roughly where the lens is, I'm sort of 100 centimeters, so 3 foot 4 inches away, 1 meter away from the screen. So this is where I'd expect to sit. I can see the text all right. I've not got the best long distance reading vision in the world. I've got perfectly good vision, but sometimes text is on a blur, but that seems all right. Like we said earlier on, I've seen some people saying that the text is a little bit blurry in some cases, but that seems all right. Where are you off to, Storm? So let's give this a go anyway. And I'm going to read this through, and I do apologise for my very poor thespian performance here, but let's give it a go and see what you think. Alas, poor Yorick, I knew him, Horatio, a fellow of infinite jest, of most excellent fancy. He hath borne me on his back 1,000 times, and now how aboard in my imagination it is. My gorge rises at it. Here hung those lips that I have kissed, I know not how oft. Where be your jibes now, your gambols, your songs, your flashes of merriment that were wont to set the table on a roar? Not one now to mock your own grinning. Quite, chap, fallen. Now get you to my lady's chamber and tell her, let her paint an inch thick, to this favour she must come, make her laugh at that. And you see, I've obviously read that off a script because I could not remember that, and it's probably 30 years since I did English literature. Now there's a thing. There's one thing to remember. Always turn off your notifications on your mobile phone. If you're using your iPhone or your Android phone, you may want to turn your notifications off, because the notification just came up on there, and that's all I can see on the screen at the moment is a Facebook notification. So do remember to do that if you're going to use your smartphone. But how was that to you? That was my very first read through. So that felt all right. I could I could see the text clearly. It was at a reasonable pace. I can adjust it if needs be. I probably wouldn't be reading at that sort of pace if I was doing my usual script rather than a Shakespearean sonnet or something. But no, that seemed to be all right. It took a bit of messing around, faffing around to get the whole thing set up. A few adjustments back there, but that seems all right so far. So I shall keep playing and I shall report back to you in a moment. I better let you guys see what I can see so you can get a true reflection, quite literally, of what you can see through the Padcaster Pro. Apologies, I'm going to use my massive iPad Pro to do this, as all my other cameras are on mounts at the moment, but got that recording, so let's get this on the go. Okay. Alas, poor Yorick, I knew him, Horatio, a fellow of infinite jest of most excellent fancy, he hath borne me on his back 1,000 times. See, I think that's all right. It looks all right. I'm going to move myself back here because that's where I normally sit and whack into the desk while I do that. But there you go. That's what I can see. I don't think that's blurring too much. I think that's quite impressive. What do you think? Okay, so what do I think of the Padcaster Parrot Pro teleprompter kit? I've had it now for a couple of days and I've done a few pieces to camera, 2 videos plus this one that I'm doing for you now. And whether it's obvious to you or not, I am reading this from a script that I wrote a few minutes ago. I'll leave it to you to decide whether it's obvious I'm reading from a script, but just bear in mind I've only used it for a few days and I probably need a bit of practice to master it. So, what are my thoughts? Well, I think the build quality of it is pretty good generally. It feels pretty robust, especially when it's snapped over the camera there, over the lens mount attachment. It is quite easy to smudge the glass with your fingers and thumbs when you're handling the device, especially those little restraining tabs. And I did feel that the bungee straps for attaching larger devices were a little bit last minute thought, bit Heath Robinson, but at least it does allow bigger devices to be fitted. The glass, I feel it's great size and it's clear and easy to read on my phone. And if it hadn't been for other people mentioning it, then I probably wouldn't even notice any blurring issues. From this range where I'm sitting, I've got no problems at all with reading the scripts at all, so I think that's pretty decent. The Padcaster app on my iOS phone, it's pretty good. It's doing everything I want it to do, such as adjusting the scrolling speed, font size, margin width, that sort of thing. I would have perhaps reordered the menu slightly to have the scroll speed at the top and maybe a quick button to swap to mirror mode so you can read it and switch between mirror mode pretty quickly. But generally, it's pretty good. I will note that I've only tested the iOS app as I don't have any Android devices in the house anymore, so I can't comment on how the Android app is. But the iOS one seems pretty good. I would suggest that the biggest letdown with the app is that to access your scripts, you need to upload them via Dropbox. And I've got to admit that I'd forgotten Dropbox even existed. I've got so many cloud-based storage locations and discovered I hadn't even used Dropbox since 2017. It's a bit of a shame I'm not able to use OneDrive or Apple's iCloud services, as that's where I usually store all my stuff. It's just one extra step in the workflow, but it's not the end of the world. It did take a couple of attempts to get the scripts to appear on my Padcaster app. I was writing them on Microsoft Word and saving them as a Word document, uploading them to Dropbox, but they weren't appearing in the Padcaster app. It wasn't until I copied and pasted them from into a text document, the Notepad on Windows, saved them as a text file, and then uploaded them to Dropbox that they actually appeared in the app. I did find also that using my my tablet, my iPad or my iPhone, if I use the iOS Notes app, and then save to Dropbox, it would save it as a text file automatically. So that appears in the app, so that was all right. So it works when you get everything together in the right place, but it could have just perhaps been a little bit more efficient. The Bluetooth remote, which I'm holding in my hand, and I'm adjusting things on the fly as I'm going. The remote works pretty well. I've not had any connection problems or communications issues with it at all, except for the first time I paired it with my iPhone. I noticed that I was actually unable to use the on-screen keyboard. Say I went into the Notes app. When I pressed the keyboard, the keyboard just didn't actually appear. It was just a blank screen, almost as though I'd attached my Apple Pencil to it. It was that sort of thing. But after I disconnected it and repaired it, it didn't have that issue again. It resolved it. Hasn't done it again. So that aside, the remote seems to work pretty fine. Now, the price. There aren't many products that are directly comparable with the Parrot Pro. Most teleprompters I've seen online are sort of tablet size, pretty much like my Neewer one I showed you earlier in the video. And very few are anything like as compact as the Padcaster Pro. They're available on Amazon for phones, but they're around about quarter of the cost. They didn't look particularly well built. I haven't used them, so I can't accurately comment if that's the case, but they just don't appear to be of the standard of the Parrot Pro. If they are as good as the Parrot Pro, then you're probably justified in saying that the Parrot Pro is quite expensive. But I think the most obvious comparison will be against the product from the big name in streaming, Elgato. Since I purchased this on the Kickstarter, Elgato have brought out their own version of a teleprompter kit. And it's quite expensive. It's £280, so it's a lot of money. However, that does come with its own screen built in. And there's definitely positives about that. For a start, you're not losing the use of your phone. My phone is currently sitting on the screen at the moment, so I can't use my phone while it's sat on there. Also, with the screen being built into the app, it's very easy to drag and drop it from your Windows or Apple desktop. You can just drag it straight across onto the app and it works pretty well. So that is a definite positive as well. And also, you don't have to go through a cloud-based app such as Dropbox. So it's definitely a positive, but are you willing to pay an extra roughly 180 quid for that privilege? You've got to really want to justify that kind of money. I couldn't really justify that, so I'm happy with the Padcaster as it stands at the moment. Now, on price and availability, on Padcaster's US store, it's 119 UK pounds. But if you're buying from the UK, you'll then get hit with a huge delivery charge of £106. Now, I can't justify that to you. However, because I'd gone through the process of adding it to my basket in order to find out what the shipping was, it had obviously flagged me up as a potential customer to Padcaster, and a couple of hours later I got an email from a company called Raiveon, that's how they've asked me to pronounce it, who are the official UK partner of Padcaster Parrot Pro. In the email it said that they had stock and shipping was free. The list price when I went onto the webpage is a little bit higher than Padcaster's own website, probably because they've had to ship it in themselves. However, the overall price, once you've added VAT to it, it comes out at around about 50 quid cheaper than going through Padcaster's own website. Now, I sent them an email back saying that if they'd like me to put it into my description, I'd put a link to their website in my description. Again, I'm not getting any financial benefit or anything else from this. I just think it's sensible that if you are a UK buyer, and most of my viewers are from the UK, if you are buying it in the UK, then it pays to go via this website and order it for a little bit cheaper. So I think that's a worthwhile thing to do. So, would I recommend the Parrot Padcaster Pro? Well, firstly, I think you need to be able to justify the cost of one. If you're only ever going to use it once in a while, then you maybe want to look at one of those cheap things on Amazon, because it's quite an expensive thing. If you're not going to get full value out of it, it's probably not worth going for it. However, if you are someone like me who does pieces of camera like this pretty much every day, then that changes things. It genuinely makes it a lot easier. I can be more considered about what I'm going to say on camera. My videos are generally quite long because I do tend to ramble on a lot. Some of you enjoy that, plenty of you don't, but having a script should help me to keep things a little bit tighter in the future. Plus, it will reduce the chance of me realising I've totally forgotten to tell you something about when I'm midway through my edit on Adobe Premiere later on in the evening, and that really does happen a lot. But if you're introducing a script into your workflow, it's obviously adding a little bit of extra time, but it cuts down so much on retakes because you're being more concise and just generally having a more polished production. And this is my first take of this. This is the first take I've done of this, so it may look a bit jumpy and a bit unprofessional, but this is my first take of doing this very long script. I wouldn't be able to do this if I wasn't reading from the script. I've now actually gone completely off script now, but I should return to the script. Anyway, for me, I believe this is a worthwhile purchase. I usually regret a poor purchase pretty quickly, but I'm confident this is going to be something I'm going to get plenty of value out of. Unlike the Neewer teleprompter I showed you earlier on, the Padcaster is so compact that it's going to be permanently living just there because it fits in this gap lovely. It's really quite useful. So it's going to be permanently sat there, and I've got no reason to ever put it away. I'm looking forward to seeing how I get on and really make best use of it. So, if you can justify the price and don't need the extra features of the Elgato, then there's a lot about the Padcaster Parrot Pro that's really going to make you happy. Anyway, I've got to end my script. I'm going to let you go away. So I do hope this video has been of use to you, and I really do appreciate you stopping by. So I'll maybe catch you on the next video. Take it easy.